Good evening and welcome to a moment with Vivacious. I'm just so excited about today. I have been having people text me and email me about this very important subject that we have tonight, and it's stop the violence. Tonight, my guest is very special to me, and you may hear me call him Bishop. He's not everybody's bishop. Okay, so I want everybody to understand that because some people might go up, but he's my bishop. And he has always lived as a man of God before me, wearing all the hats that God has ordained for him, including being a chef. And he's going to tell us a little bit about Big Daddy and that sauce. I think the sauce is best on seafood. But tonight we dealing with a subject that has set us back, Um, for a few decades, and he's been dealing with this issue for a long time, violence in the city. So we're all excited. So get ready and look. Don't forget to press like. I can see a lot of y'all listening, but sometimes we forget to press like. So press like, and if this is your first time joining us, please subscribe to the channel. But most of all, while we're watching the intro, I want you to invite some of your friends. This is a very needed topic that we have to deal with in order to move forward in our society. So in just a moment, you'll hear Dwayne Thompson talking about stop the violence. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious, a freedom ride where we the people gather to build ourselves, our family, our community, and our nation. For the sound of America for progress has reached critical mass. Understanding that we must put aside our differences to focus on the greater good. This is a place of collaboration to rebuild and restore our nation. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious. Good evening, good evening, good evening. My bishop, Mr. Dwayne Thompson, how are you?
Hey there, how are you doing?
Great. You know, every time I have to talk about, I know we're going to talk about stop the violence, okay? But I have to talk about this barbecue sauce first. I love this barbecue sauce. I made some baked red fish, and also I made some shrimp tacos. Man, tell us a little bit about the barbecue and the contest first, and then we're going to get into our very serious subject while everybody's calling everybody to come join us and press and subscribe if you haven't, and like. Tell us just a little bit about in the contest going on, just a little bit.
It's all-purpose barbecue sauce. Got a sister that's a seasoning. So we have all-purpose seasoning and sauce. It goes good on everything, goes in anything. We've extracted some of the smoke from it so your food don't be smoky, but it tastes real good. We drop it in spaghetti sauce and greens and cabbage and use it on the grill, use it as dipping sauce steak. And we have a seasoning now that goes along with everything. Low in sodium, high in flavor, New Orleans style, not hot, just real flavorful. And it's another God-given thing. I never thought I would be doing this at this point, but God told me, gave me everything I needed. So we just rolling with it. Been on the market 7 years, trying to be strong, trying to be one of those big brand names. And all your followers can find us at www.bigdaddybomb.com. www.bigdaddybomb.com. I appreciate you letting me plug that, but I'm definitely excited to talk about what has been one of my most close to heart subjects for over 25 years now. And I was thinking about it today, what we would talk about and how we would go at it. So I'm excited. I'm gonna let you run your interview, but I think I got some answers to some of your questions.
Well, it's really your interview. We're here. I've worked with you for years with that. You went into areas of the city even when we were in New Orleans where other people wouldn't touch. I still have one of those newspaper articles. But So, I'm not the lead. I do have some things that I don't want to miss and I don't want to talk about that can fit every city. But right now, it's so many of my friends are losing their sons. But I want to talk about all of the violence that's going on. And I think it starts with anger. Tell us what is the foundation or the pit of the violence that we're experiencing. We're going to jump right in. The violence that we are experiencing this day.
Well, I mean, you know me, I'm a Bible believing man. So the first thing we have to admit and find out where people and where listeners are, because the thing is that we're talking about it on two different levels here. One, we're talking about a spiritual level and a natural level. It all begins with a spirit, and it's a spirit that has been allowed. It's not put upon us, but God told us He's always warned His people of what was to come. He never stopped the plagues. He never stopped any of that, but He told His people how to manifest and how to endure and overcome those plagues that were going to hit the earth. And He didn't leave us in disbelief or dismay. He definitely told us that in that day, which is this day, that there will be lovers of themselves, boasters, proud, braggers, mothers against daughters, fathers against sons. So it's nothing but the coming together of the word of God, if you're a believer, right? But let's
Yes.
talk about the natural sense, and let's talk about the clinicians and the scientific and the root of the mental state of it. Yes, it does start with anger, but it starts with the inability to love oneself and see others loving them more than yourself, or loving them enough not to destroy them or to kill them, and not seeing them as individuals or something that you care about. No one destroys anything that they love, not purposely.
So, with that being said, let me let me go to a big situation that's coming up in families in households. Um, Double parent, father and mother homes, and homes where there's just a single parent. Dads, we have more single parent dad homes than ever now. So, moms can't just claim that title anymore. We have children cursing out their families, fighting at home, uh, like taking weapons into the house. I asked the child not long ago, do you want to harm or kill yourself? No, but I want to harm and kill my parents. So I believe that we love our kids, maybe too much. Maybe we give them too much. I don't know, but I believe our kids love us, but it is just the respect is just not even respect.
But it you have to understand, Val. Like I said, when we talk about it from a perspective, if we can't X out the word, we can't put that aside. That's the truth of the matter. But without dealing with that, when you talk about society, you talk about influence, you talk about things that have told our children or is telling our children what is right. Um, they've set bars and set standards and telling us that what we can or can't do. You're talking about two different generations of raising children and the way that you're allowed to raise them. You also have to, if you're going to get into the depths of it, you also have to even look at them glorifying where you used to do kids scared straight. You take them to the jailhouse, they're scared straight. They're making the penitentiary look like it's a lavish place of rest and come upness. People online in jail on the phone. They're having jailhouse fashion shows. They got TVs. They smoking. They doing drugs in jail. They're making it think, oh, you know what? It's cool to go here. But on the backside of that, there's a profit in it for them. So you're going against what I call the machinery of pushing this violence. It's just like in the drug, when we found out the backlash to the drug fight against drugs, the war on drugs, and who was actually putting the drugs out there. You know what I'm saying? You have the same thing with violence. They are perpetuating the violence with a forefront of saying, "Oh, we want to stop the violence." I want to take something to you right quick.
Yes.
How many people profit off of one body? Let's just go with one person that has passed from violence. How many people are actually making money from that one body? You start with the person, pick them up, right? You start with the authorities. You start with the authorities, then you start with the people that have to pick them up, then you start with the mortuaries, you start with the undertakers, then you start with the insurance people, and you start with the caskets, and you start with the people who are making the t-shirts, and you start with the people who are making the handkerchiefs and the cups and the, you know, and you go all the way until they're buried, and you go with the anniversaries of the dead person and the balloon releases and the doves and the one body. Now we're talking one body. So are we really wanting to stop the, because if you stop the violence, you cut the income of how many people? Okay, we're gonna talk truth tonight, so let's just start there.
Oh my God, wait, I gotta get myself together after this. You know, that makes me so afraid because everything has turned to money. Even our children in school selling drugs. Everything is about, you know, what you want to be. When you ask the young children what you want, what you gonna do with your life, you know, when the older teenagers are, whatever bring me the money. So I'm so sorry. I'm still stuck off of Lord Jesus. We have become so in love with money until we allowing our children to die in the street for money. That I'm stuck there, okay? But I gotta move on.
Money ain't a thing, but the love of money is the root of all evil. They're making them fall in love with the money so that the evil can take root and make them do anything for the money. So you have television, you have games, you have $1 billion industry that's forcing them to think that without money they can't exist. Let's go to something real simple. Have you seen the latest children going out for prom? It's all about who can spend the most money on prom. Why at 17, graduating from high school, you got to pull up to the prom in a Lamborghini with $2,000, $5,000 running up and down your arm to go into a place where the Lamborghini gonna stay outside and the people who rented it from you gonna drive it back off. Then you go home in a Hyundai. I'm trying to figure it out.
We have Barbara Dozier saying, "Oh my goodness, all for money is sad. One body sad." I know it blew me away. And we have Thelma Bowler saying, "Go cousin." And we have Felicia Smith saying, "Hey grandpa." But man, this is a serious matter. And I'm so glad that this is coming up because we have to understand how we're killing ourselves behind money. And everything, when we talk about generational wealth now, and I want to stick with violence, but we can only account for it as money when we give away our generational wealth every day. Part of generational wealth was when the generation got together for, let's just say, Christmas. We don't do that stuff. Like we're giving away the wealth of life. But anyway, so I'm sorry, I'm a little through because just thinking about people making, trying to get rich off of our children dying. People dying. Okay.
And that's the thing.
All right, Vivacious, you got to get past that.
It's no longer about just the children. You could say that, but it is transcended into other age brackets and other. It's because it's forcing itself on us in a society to even think, to make even what used to be the elders. I'll give you a conversation I had. I talked to a man one day, and I was in a neighborhood, and I asked him, I said, sir, who is the gatekeeper of this neighborhood? He was about 55, 60. You know what he asked me? What is
Huh.
it? So
I'm
that's who,
sorry.
because every neighborhood used to have a gatekeeper. So I went to explain to him that a gatekeeper is the person in this neighborhood who most people can go to, most people can depend on, most people can trust, or that's going to protect or make sure that the neighborhood is protected in some form or fashion, right?
Right.
So be it as it may, he couldn't tell me who that was. And that made me realize that the protection that used to exist in the neighborhood, the undergird, right? The
Yes.
foundation of what we had is disappearing. It's like having a house built upon a moving foundation, and it's just sliding down, and it has come to where there's no real substance in families. There's no real substance in communities. There's nobody that's willing to stand, and anybody that stands up for this either gets bought off or killed off.
Yeah, I
Because
remember when I was coming up, it was Mr. James Williams. Nobody didn't mess with us in that neighborhood, especially if Mr. James was around.
so you're talking about, and here's the biggest thing. We talk about the money, but the money that's producing the spirit of fear that's making people back down and not want to be involved is another element. Because I'm not going to approach anything that I'm fearful of. So I just throw my hands up. I go inside and mind my own business, because if I deal with it, I say something, they're going to kill me, or they're going to hurt my family, or something is going to become of me in a physical, violent manner. So I'll just be quiet and go stand in the corner, which is another main ploy of the enemy, to keep you quiet. You know, the devil, he haven't changed. The Bible says there's nothing new under the face of the sun. And if he can keep you quiet, he feels that's some sort of victory, because you're not spreading it. You're not telling it. So keep that to yourself. And how does he do that? He creates a bubble of fear, or a fashion of fear, to make you, hey, I'm not about to stand up against them. Hey, I'm not about to tell that, because they'll kill me. They'll do something to me. They'll harm me. And then therefore that takes those who want to, or just like during Katrina, all the people who were standing up and we had a loud voice, where did they go? Where were all the people on the bullhorns and yelling, this was a travesty, this was wrong, they shouldn't have done us this? They all got government jobs, they all got big time jobs. So now the people who have the jobs control the voice. So when you make too much noise, you either get bought off, or as Dr. King did, you make too much noise, they kill you off.
Oh my God. Taste in the City with Nick is enjoying this conversation. Felicia Smith said, I always thought family values died with the older generation of great-grandparents. Once the great-grandparents died, the family is divided. Fear is the heck of a thing. She said, speaking facts. And you're right, because these facts hurt. It hurts. I wanna take us back a little bit. I want to take us back to schools. Not children getting shot at school. They just celebrated the death of the little girl here in Georgia, where they had I think they brought them back to the school after the party, and the little girl and some other children got shot. When I was young, of course that was a long time ago, but when I was young, we feared guns and all of that. We might get in fight with our friends, but tomorrow we're saying, I'm sorry. Today, your friend is killing you.
Once again, let's
And then they're selling drugs in school. I want to talk about that too all at one time. Where are the children getting the money to buy the drugs in school?
listen to this, Val. I want you to understand this word, okay?
Okay.
Say this with glorification. anything that is glorified and if you're not horrified of it, right? If you
Yes.
glorify it, you're drawn to it. You want to be it, right?
Yes.
Remember that the enemy has always been deemed to want to be God. And because he couldn't be God, he wanted to imitate God. The God that I serve loves to be glorified. He loves to be praised. He loves to be honored. He loves to be uplifted, right?
Right.
So the enemy wants to be glorified, but the only way that he can be glorified or in his glorification is through evil and through hurt and through tearing down of. So he creates this wheel, this simulation of glorification and not really showing the end results or not even caring about the end results. All it is the right now. If I can have it right now. I talked to a 16-year-old the other day, told me he ready to die. He's like, I live for the day. I don't live for tomorrow. He's like, yeah, I had a discussion with him and made him really realize he wasn't ready to die. It just sounded cool and he thought it was okay to say that. But he wasn't ready to die because the first thing he wasn't saved. So he really wasn't ready to die. But we took care of that a little bit too. But at the same time, understand that they're being fed. You are what you eat. You are what you eat. And if you're being fed guns, drugs, violence, money, guns, drugs, violence, right?
Yes.
What is to become of you if that's all you're being fed, if that's all you're being shown, that's all you're being taught? There's nothing being given to them to show them, because even when they're shown a different path, if what they're being shown doesn't add up to the other thing they're being shown, it's like having a choice of, oh, do you want potted meat or you want to eat steak? You can have them both, but this one sure tastes better, and you can get it right now. And so now it's just a mental cycle of tomfoolery and foolishness that they've been given, but they don't have a real choice because nobody's telling them the real end result of what's to come. They tell them, yeah, jail or death, but they glorify jail and death. I'm gonna give you an example. When we was coming up, the movie Scarface, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted to be Scarface. I don't know if you've seen Scarface, right?
Yeah.
But I used to ask them, did y'all watch the end of Scarface? That's how you want to go out? The world is yours, but over you under a bloody pool of bullet holes and drugs in your system? Did you really see the end? But they had been fooled the whole time by everything else that went on in the movie was so glorified, the money, the girls, the attention, that they really missed. This dude got shot over 100 times in his own house by the plug. I'm just saying, you really want to be Scarface? That's what you want to be? And so now it's just Scarface on steroids.
And I think that they have this big picture of jail until they have to go. I have a video that I show some boys now that come in and their gangs. I have that video that and he's saying, look, all of this is fake. Prison is not a good place. It's not a good place to be. And then he says, look, when you look back, only people behind you is your mama and your grandma. There's all them people that was saying all that stuff, all those. He said, I'm saying women, but he didn't say that word. And none of them there. None of that's there. You are there by yourself when that judge give you 20 years and you locked away for life. And I've seen so many young boys working in jails and prisons for 15 years. I've seen them just lose their mind. Men too, because it's like suicide high, because the reality wasn't there. They didn't give it to them what was for real. So with all of that being said, how can we, and we didn't talk about how our school system is really failing our children. We didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about. They talk about the how the school is a pipeline to prison, and our children, we don't give them dreams. We don't give them, like I think if you had something to live toward, if you had something to work toward, um, then your life is going somewhere, except for a new pair of shoes like the last rapper had on.
Can I agree to disagree?
Yes, please, please.
So let me say this: the school system is still a system. It's not perfect, but take it one step back. Let's take it back to school. When you were in school, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you had homework to do, you had projects to do, you had things that were going on, and you were asked about your day, you sort of kind of asked to produce papers for it. You would go, your parents would come to the school, to the PTA meetings. So let me help you out. I worked in the school system when I first got here, right?
Yeah.
So Lil Johnny plays football. Lil Sal is a cheerleader. Lil Johnny's mama is on the team spirit committee. Lil Johnny mom want to make sure the football team eat, want to make sure the money get raised for the uniform, for Lil Sally to have a skirt, have her gym bag, have a water bottle. But Lil Johnny and Sally mama, they ain't been to a PTA meeting since PTA started. But when something go wrong in the school, but they never was there to put a voice into it. So you can't fix something even though something is wrong if you're not around to even see what's going on with it until it's too late, or until Lil Sally or Johnny gets in trouble, or until they don't do something you like, or until he gets a grade that keeps him from being on the field. And now the teacher's unfair and she wrong, and she know my child can have a chance to go to college and go to pros, but if he going to college and he can't get out of high school, is that the school fault?
No, not at all. No.
So although it's a pipeline, it only became a pipeline because they recognize that those who really are in charge of making sure that their child gets what he needs is too busy out here chasing money again. It all goes back to money, because mama's too busy trying to afford the house that they're living in and live above the means that they have. And I seen a video the other day. A mama said she give her child $2,000 a month in allowance, so she has to work overtime 30 hours a week so he can keep on name brand clothes when he go to school, because he refused to go to school and in non-name brand items, shoes and clothing. Really? So when mama got time to look at his homework? I'm just saying, stop me when I can get off camera if I'm.
No, because it came to mind when you saying this. When I was teaching, there was a little girl in 5th grade. They were going to middle school the next year. So I was teaching basics up, preparing them for middle school. This little girl couldn't read. I came early, I stayed lunch, and I stayed after school. The mama made an excuse for before and after school, and she said that I was unfair to the children. They needed a break during the day. So she didn't want her child to come, but the little girl couldn't read. So the little girl kept bringing a brush to school. It was towards the end of the year, and the little girl was bringing a brush. No doing hair in class. No doing hair in class. She pulled out the brush and she was brushing her hair, and I snatched the brush and threw it in the trash. But I had taken the brush out the trash because I was going to give it to her on the last day of school with all the children Pokemon cards, right? Do you know that's when that mama showed up ready to fight me? She wanted to fight me over the brush, but refused to let her child come.
I got one better for you now. You ready?
I don't know,
So,
but I'll try. Come on.
I went to a school and a kid had brought a gun to the school. So they called me in because another kid told on the child who bought the gun. So they were ridiculing him and telling him he was a snitch and what they were going to do to him and he shouldn't have told. So they brought me in to talk to him. So I told him, I said, hey, man, you did a wonderful thing. Don't tell them who life you saved. You know, don't worry about what they're talking about. So in this, they allowed me to talk to the class. So I began to talk to the class about violence, nonviolence, mindset renewal, how you think. So a young girl, I'll never forget this. Young girl raised her hand. First of all, let me throw this caveat out there. We talk about fourth graders, first of all. So in the fourth grade, you're how old? 9, 10? About 9 or 10?
Yeah, about because you in first grade you're 6. Yeah, about 9 or 10.
So I was talking to the little girl. She said, Mr. D. I said, yeah. She said, I hear what you're saying. Hold your seatbelt on, Val. Hold your seatbelt. Tighten.
All right.
She said, but my mama told me if one of them hoes touched me, beat that bitch in the head with a brick till she bleed. I said, fourth grade. You talking about the one who feeds her, who takes care of her, who gives her her clothing, who walks her to school, who sees her after school. So what you do if that is her role model, if that's her influence. But I did tell her this, because I'll never teach a child to disrespect her parent. I said, would you please have your mother give me a call and ask her what the end of that story is? Because the end of that story is that you're going to go to jail. The state of Alabama does not have anywhere to put you. You become a commodity. They're going to sell your time to Florida or Louisiana or Texas and ask her how many times she's going to come visit you while you're in jail for beating somebody in the head with a brick till they bleed. Oh. Needless to say, the mama never called me.
Oh, wow. So where do we begin to work on stopping the violence?
Mindset. It's a mindset renewal. Me personally, I tell people to begin to speak to those who are within their household or in their reach. So I have grandchildren. My granddaughter's on this call. I sent her the link. My granddaughter's on this call. I sent it to my other grandchildren, nieces, nephews. Reach those who you can reach within your close proximity. And if you can go out of that circle, right? It used to be cliche to say each one reach one, but now it's a definitive and it's something that is mandatory. If you can save one, you've done a lot because you're fighting a big machine. So I tell people, start with those who are in close proximity of them. And with the mindset, we have to think, you have to begin to think and see things from a different perspective. But love conquered all things. They're not even taught to love themselves.
And so can we say this? Understanding that your position in life and where you came from and where you live and what you've learned. Sometimes you don't have your options are all negative. I'm just giving a little bit of thought to children who don't have a voice. Their options, and I keep saying children, but it's people. Because let me go to this story. This little boy, well, he was a man by the time I took care of him in jail. He and I really cared about him because his mama started selling him for drugs around the age of 5. And then as he grew older, when he got to be old enough, he became a runner. And it was all for them to have drugs because they lived in like rag down houses, was homeless most of the time, but living in drug houses and everything. And then I remember one time he came to jail and he said, I'm getting tired of this life, but this gonna be the last time you see me. This is gonna be the last time you see me, Miss Petite. I said, okay. So, cause when we work in the jail, they call us by our last name. I said, okay, man. So I'm so glad, but I didn't know what his plan was, right? So the next time I saw him, he was in the infirmary. His arm was almost shot off. I said, man, what happened? And I was just so sad for him because I really thought he was going to get another life. He said, I went to the dealer and I got a large amount of drugs, and I'm telling this story because I'm sure he would want me to tell him. And I was going to make enough money to buy myself out of this and keep me straight until whatever he was going to do with the money to keep on living, right? So when he was almost finished selling the drug, the man who knew he had that much drugs and how long it would take to him, it was the same man he was pushing drugs on the street for, sent 5 guys to shoot him. He killed 3 of the guys, and one of the guys was injured really bad, but he shot him with an automatic gun, almost blew his arm off. And to make a long story short, he got life in prison. So he never had the opportunity to be free, but he was charged with 3 murders. So it was like 4 people died. I don't know. It might have been 5 because I don't know what happened to the other guy. But these lives seem so glorious to children and grown-ups too, who have not seen anything else. I don't even know what we could say about that, but how, like, I just want to empathize with them, and maybe I shouldn't, but
I understand why you would want to empathize with, but here's the truth of the matter.
uh-oh.
If 2 blind people are trying to go somewhere, where they leading each other? If nobody knows and nobody, so at some point, but not only do you have to know, you have to be willing to know or willing to learn. See, I told you I'm a Bible believing person. And the Bible says that ye first must be willing. To do anything, you have to be willing. So you have to even be willing to want to do better. You have to be willing to need, because I can always have an excuse not to. If I want to be skinny, but I don't go on a diet, it ain't gonna happen. I have to be willing to do the things that I need to do to lose the weight. I can't wish it away. I can't think it's gonna go away. I have to do what it takes to do something different, but I have to see the value in doing something different. And right now, there's no value in not selling drugs, no value in not being on the street, because they're being told that that's where the value is. That's where all of the happenings are. That's where, okay, let's get him out of violence. Right now, the thing on the internet is the women who don't want to date men who make under $100,000. If he can't afford my lifestyle, I don't want him. I'm 55 years old. I've been working since I was 14. I only had like 1 or 2 jobs where I made over 100 grand a year, right? So if I wasn't married, I wouldn't qualify to be dating because I don't make $100,000. Really? But that's what's being told. That's what's being sold. They don't even know what type of job that besides come out the gate making $100,000. So, they don't even do the investigation of what they're speaking of. They just believe what they hear and they run with it. And it's the blind leading the blind.
That's the craziest stuff in the world to me. But and I keep telling everybody, all of y'all want to be millionaires, but everybody a millionaire, being a millionaire is not going to be anything. But they're not getting it. So where can we start? Okay, we started in our home first. What can we do as a community? If anything, we start in our homes, but what can we do as a community to stop the violence?
We can begin to change the narrative, right? We can begin to show and those with resources, newspapers, and people such as yourself, with shows like this to show the positiveness of working hard and what people can get from working hard. But the other thing is that we as a community need to understand that we can't keep dropping pennies to fight against somebody who's dropping millions and billions. We have to come together and see that it is worth investing in our future. We can't all just walk away from it and think it's going to get better. But we don't want to invest. We don't want to put any money. We don't want to put anything into it, but we want to expect so much out of it. They're putting their money into it. They're getting just what they want. Violence, killing, go to jail, make a profit. They're willing to invest into the degradation and the downplay of our community, and we're not willing to invest in the uplifting, the encouragement, and the gratification and the glorification of making things better. Because once again, it ain't the quick money. It ain't doubling our money. It ain't worth it to us. So we don't even see no value in saving our children. So until we see a value in saving them, until we see a value in sowing a seed into them and into our future and making it better for them and not just worried about us, we want to do what's good for us right now. We're not even worried about generations to come. We've been sold that everything is about right now. Like ain't gonna be no future. It's almost like 1999 when we thought Y2K was the end of the world. And then 2000 came, and now we're in 2024.
So, with that being said, how do we convince parents? How do we rethink the whole thing? Like even going back to the prom situation, I brought this up in another topic. We were talking about parenting and how when we were coming up, at a certain age you get to wear stockings. At a certain age you get to wear your hair down. That was a big deal to wear your hair down every day, but you had to be a certain age to get to that point. You had to be a certain age. We grew into stuff. Now, one of the little girls, when you say that, the 8th grade prom, she had on this dress and it was beautiful and it was gorgeous. But I thought to myself when I saw it, and again, I might have been guilty. I didn't make the comment. I just said, oh, it was beautiful. But I thought, well, what's she going to do when she graduated from high school if she had this at 8th grade?
Val, grab a pen.
I'm sorry.
I need a pen. Grab an ink pen. Because you said, where do we start? Grab an ink pen. Because we start at the MVP. The MVP is the most valuable player, right?
Right.
But it's about morals, values, and principles. That's where we start. People having morals, values, and principles. They don't have them no more. Nobody has them. We're living in a land of moralist people who has no values and have no principles. And if they have them, they let the world dictate to them what they should be. Nobody thinks for themselves. Nobody's able to stand on their own, as the young folks say, 10 toes down, and say, no, I'm not going to go for that. We're allowing society to tell us what we should think, what our morals should be, how we should act, what should go on, what should be acceptable, what's not acceptable. And I got one even, you want to hear one even worse? The church is the biggest problem when it comes to not standing 10 toes down, because a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them are too scared to lose the revenue, so they won't say anything that goes against what society is saying. Eli bow tie that, because that has been a big problem. Not even the ones in the pulpit, a lot of them won't stand and say, thus saith the Lord. They say, thus saith the Lord, if it's okay with you, because I want you to keep on giving to me.
You know.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Man, they say the truth hurts. I'm being slapped around, okay? Because I was thinking, okay, we're gonna come out, but this is the truth, man. You know, this is the truth. We have lost the culture, and
Our,
I always say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
our moral compass. That's what we've lost. Yeah. Nobody's willing to stand for what's right.
I think a lot of people have thrown out what's
What
right and what's wrong.
about it? Not enough of us.
Mm-mm.
You know, not enough of us.
Wow, man.
You know, my wife just reminded me of a time we claimed we were so tired of violence and something going on, and they gave a rally. Everybody tired of it, but nobody showed up to the rally. And their main excuse is they're scared of what's gonna go on, and they're scared of what retaliation they're gonna have. If everybody's scared, then you're just gonna leave the inmates to run their asylum.
And we've lost our voice in our society these days. We've lost our voice, and we always, when everything is wrong, and this is me, right? This is me today, because I was like, okay, it's gonna get straight now. It's gonna get straight now because we're gonna find out what they're doing. But it's like, look, we need to fix this. And I say it, but dog, I mean, you know, like it just hit me in the face tonight. Like, fix it and start with you. And you know, and I always say that in a place of politics, but man, that's a place of life. You know, like tonight has really hit me hard, man. Like, dog,
Because
dog. And I always say they need to take them children back to Wednesday night Bible study. You know, like,
okay, now you went there since you introduced that. How you gonna take somebody to Wednesday night Bible study when you ain't gone?
I don't mean to laugh. Oh my God. And you're
Who you
right.
taking? Who you gonna take? They don't see you go. And then you go on Sunday, and the minute you get in your car, you cuss the reverend out, or you just can't, you know what I'm saying? The thing about it is, our children have developed a sense of noticing hypocriticalness, and they're saying, and they're publicizing, before I be a hypocrite, I just won't go. Before I do that, I just won't be involved. She's telling me not to do this and telling me not to get involved in this, but her door is swinging open. She think I don't hear the man coming through the back door and getting out before I wake up in the morning. She don't think I see her talking to 6 different people. One of them come up at light bill, one of them come up at phone bill, one of them come up at car note, one of them coming at just plain old fun. I'm just saying, you have to regain yourself before you can lead somebody to help. Because the first thing I'm saying is, what is it doing for you? What is it doing for you? What is the thing you're trying to tell me to do? How is it helping you? The Hebrew boys had to go into the furnace, so that they thought they told them before they went in. Listen, man, even if he don't, we know he can. But by the way, recognize the guys that putting us in there died, and we walked in ourselves. So the one we served kept us, and the one they serving couldn't even help them put us in. They showed what they believed. They showed what was working for them. What have you showed people that works for you? I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
Man, bam. That's all I can say is bam. Woo. All right. I don't know if none of us was ready for tonight. Chantel is clapping. I just think Thelma have really been participating tonight. And we appreciate that. And one word that she said that I appreciate that people don't do anymore, and that's accountability.
Woo, that's a big one.
Give it to us, Bishop, because you wearing us out. Just
Listen.
okay, I'm holding on. Give it to us.
No, I mean, that's the word, though. Everybody wants to pass it on. Everybody wants, it's somebody else's fault. Lil Johnny, if y'all hadn't been doing this, Johnny wouldn't have been there. If y'all hadn't been, let me tell you something. I'm not for nobody's child, nobody's human life being taken. But what I can't get with is the glorification of ill living, and then you want me to be okay with how tragic it ended. If you build a house of cards, at some point it's gonna fall. But you can't have Lil Johnny on his Instagram, on his Facebook with $5,000 rolling down his arm, a 65-inch TV in his room, $1,000 PlayStation, $10,000 worth of shoes, $20,000 in jewelry, running a block, 3 cars, and then something happens to him, and you on TV crying, I don't know why they killed my baby. You know why. It's a shame that they did it, but don't act like you don't know why, because you allowed this even in your household. And most of the time it's because you feared it, or he was bringing you revenue to help you with your bills, so it was okay. Long as you bring mama a little bit, baby. And then, even when he bring it, you don't even have the audacity to pay for a funeral or pay for insurance to help you bury little Johnny, because you knew what the end result was. Because here it goes. Guess what? I tell them all the time, just give me your social. If you choose to live like this, that's your choice. The end of what you're doing is death. I'll cash in the policy. I'll bring your mama shopping. We'll bury you well, and she'll live happily ever after. At least take care of your mom when you're gone. You out here spending all your money, throwing it up in the air, spending $10,000 at the strip club, $30,000 at the jewelry shop, $40,000 on the car, and then they got to go fund me for you and your mama on TV talking about, I don't know why they would do my baby like that. Everybody lying, and there's no accountability.
Bishop, you giving it to us straight up. Do it. That's all I can say. Because I have another word from Thelma. And I think that this goes for the adults, the mamas, and the children. And Thelma's other word that I want to talk about is entitlement.
Catch, hold on, let me fall out the chair and come back. Okay, listen. But then there again, watch this. It's the great bait and switch. So we have been told that the life we had prior to having children was so bad that we got to give them everything we didn't have to make their life better. That's the first lie. Second lie is, how do we get them everything we didn't have when our parents worked so hard to give us the little bit that we did have? So that means that we have to work twice or 3 times as hard, but that means that we'll be gone from our children 2 to 3 times more, so they'll have to raise themselves so that they can have what we didn't have. But we had a family, they have nothing, but we're going to give them everything we didn't have. And so now they feel like they're owed things from everybody else, and we tell them they are. So you owe to be protected, so don't let the teacher tell you nothing, or you owe for don't let nobody outside tell you nothing. So the minute somebody tries to tell them, even when they're right, they're wrong, they're going to fight you, or they're going to tell you, don't tell my child nothing, because they ain't telling them nothing.
Wow.
Okay.
And this is with grown-ups too, and I'm going to go back to, I want a man that make $100,000. What kind of man would make $100,000 to just give you to waste? What makes you think because you're dating this man that you're
Uh-uh.
entitled to all his money?
Because you invested in a BBL, you think that that's your cash in to now be repaid for it. So if I spend these 10 grand on getting my breast enhanced and my butt lifted and my my hips shifted, now this my investment to cash in. So I spend 10,000 and I want to make that investment pay. So I need somebody that at least got 100,000 to help me pay for the rest of the food that I want to come with this. But they've been sold that that's the model, that's the road, that's what's been pushed out there, right? So that's the narrative, and that becomes the norm. Whereas when it used to be, when young ladies had butts that big, they felt some kind of way, and they're trying to figure out, how do I reduce this? How do I? They were trying to hide it and put coveralls over it, and upset because people would notice it everywhere they go, or they were bumping into stuff by mistake when they had natural dukes. Now they're going to get them and bigger than the natural ones. Then they get unflaved, they sing, they go halfway side, and you want somebody to fix it for you. Fix it, Jesus. You asked. You asked.
Yeah. And entitlement is a really, really oh, Thelma talking about people bad. That's why if you go get, all I can say is, if you go get a B, what's the lettuce, a BBL or whatever it is, make sure you go to somebody who know what they're doing and use a good product. Because
can you hear me?
Yes, because everybody out here is not doing that right. Is not. So just make sure you get somebody who know what they're doing and do that right. But like I believe in life, like my daddy said, you can have any habit. You can have we lost Bishop. In this life, you can have any habit you can pay for. So what you want in life, if it's good, if you could afford it, then that's good. But I hope Bishop could turn back in. Could sign back on and tell us good night. But look, I really thought that there was gonna be like, man, all he telling us is get it right, huh? I really thought it was gonna be like, I'm telling you, y'all, I'm speechless. I'm left speechless. But it was just simple, like get away from all the place that we have come, and get back to the basics of real life. Clean up our lives. Bishop, are you back? Mackenzie? Okay, thank you.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. Like internet does that sometimes. Man. Okay, Bishop. Let's wind this up. You got us all worn out. Okay, let's whew, all right. I thought I was gonna have something like, okay, the poor little. I'm maybe. Okay, let me shut up. Bishop, wind us up. Give us a little summary of tonight. Give us a direction and where to go.
In all honesty, it's heartbreaking. It's I've been doing this for over 20 plus years, and I will say this: I'm not a millionaire from it. I haven't made a lot of money from it, but when you understand self-worth and you understand, you have people walk up to you from 10 years ago or 15 years ago and say, I still remember what you told me. And that helped me get my life straight. Right now, I teach a program in the jail, with guys that's been in jail. And it's a program that they come to in the evenings. And to hear them say, man, I didn't think I wanted to be in this. And I thought I just wanted to get my record clean, but I'm actually hearing what you're saying. I want to change the way I think about life. Those seeds and those flowers coming up are worth it, to know that you actually serve the purpose on this earth, other than the things that I've served a wrong purpose before. I've been on both sides of the coin. I've been the guy tearing down the community and destroying lives and being violent, and it got me nowhere. I'm not proud of that, but I am grateful that God allowed me to see the other side of it, and to begin to tell young men and women and grown people that, it was a decision that was made. I made a decision to do better. People always told me when I was in the streets, like, something's different about your heart, something different about you. How you so kind? How you? And I never understood it. And now I understand that God had a different purpose for me. And I take on that purpose, but I try to give people that purpose. So I would say, yeah, be accountable for those that you touch. I would say, feel like you are entitled. You're entitled to help change the narrative. You're entitled to doing better and being better. I would say there's no greater feeling than somebody telling you that you helped shape or mold their destiny of their life, and they knew that they were headed to a life of destruction. I do graduation speeches at a prison or a jail that's geared towards recidivism, and it sends fellas back in the streets with job certificates in heating and air and forklift driving and things of that nature. And when I talk to those guys and I talk to them at their graduation, I teach them and I ask them, what are you going to do when you get back to the hood and the same guys are standing on the corner asking you to do the same things and upset, and when you're going to end up being an island? And I'll give you this one as we go. An island is a piece of land that's totally surrounded by water. It sits by itself, and nobody really is on that place or really likes to go to that place. But if you fall out of a plane and you're in the water with sharks and other sea creatures, and you see an island, you're happy to see that island because it becomes a place of refuge and a place of rest. Don't be in the water with the sharks. Become the island that people will run to and say, how did you do it? How did you get here? And you were in the same predicament I was in, but you were able to stand on your own. And now you'll become the refuge for those in the waters with the sharks. Hey, I appreciate you having me. And I love you.
And I love you too. And Thelma said one more thing that I want to that I want to repeat. Thelma said we all must reflect. And Carolyn Johnson said amen. She was agreeing with what you said. And Patricia Harris, I think it was, that said, you preaching, Bishop. You're going to be everybody, Bishop. Now I'm going to be jealous.
Hey,
but
let me tell you about Carolyn. And I'll have to let you meet Carolyn sometime, but when I came to Alabama, Carolyn's son was murdered outside of a party, driving up. And it was over 50 people out there. And this was 20 years ago. Nobody has yet to even say or turn in the folks who started shooting at the party and shot up her son before he could get out of the car. And so she has an organization that supports parents who lost their children to violence and gun violence and unnecessary violence. And I've been working with her program for the last 15 so years. And I love her and what she's doing. And she's yet fighting for answers for her son and all of these other parents who, once again, this world is telling people not to tell, not to snitch, not to come forward. And nobody's come forward. And there were over 40 people outside when the fight began and the gunshots rang out. So we're still looking for somebody to stand up and say and come forward, not only in her son's case, but in all of the unsolved homicides here and across the nation. I think that's another thing that this machine has driven by fear and not wanting people. I mean, you know, you can make a call and it can be anonymous, but they got you believing it ain't even anonymous, and it really is. I work with Crime Stoppers. They have a way that they don't let nobody know it's you, and you don't even have to go to court. They just have to make an arrest and give them enough information. So I'm very supportive of Crime Stoppers in all areas, and that's getting involved. That's part of the solution. Get involved. You see something, say something. Because I'm a firm believer, if they did it in front of you, they must have wanted told. Because I'm telling it.
And I was just saying, for that money sometime, I wish I knew some of the people.
Girl, who you telling right around Christmas time?
I would tell.
Dimes. I'm dropping 4, 5 dimes.
And Carolyn, we want you to know that our prayers and our hearts are with you, and your amen. And thank you for your blessings means even more to us. And Bishop, we just want to thank you for being here. But before we hang up, I want to make sure everybody pressed like tonight. Please press like. Man, you hit us with a reality. And one thing we've learned tonight, Bishop, is that stopping the violence begins, first of all, with each and every one of us.
Each and every one of us.
And we want to thank you so much for being here. And of course, we're gonna have to call you out to studio.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate you. And always thank you for the support, the love, and keep doing what you're doing. And you know, I've been supporting you since I ain't gonna tell her how far we go back. Since my little girls was dancing in your living room. That's how far we go back. And they're in their 20s now.
Oh, wow.
So
I remember waiting for those girls to be born, but they're mine too. But thank you for being here. Thank everyone for listening. Thank you, Carolyn, Queen Carolyn, like Thelma say. We love y'all. We thank y'all. Press like before you leave the studio. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you, Val, for having me. See you soon.
All right. I'll be in Bessemer soon.